Let's start with a scene nearly every teacher recognizes. A student stares at a math problem for, about 10 minutes, sighs, then starts to erase. Their hand shoots up. Can I just use the calculator? Or now, increasingly the question becomes, can I just ask ChatGPT? It's tempting to say yes. After all, isn't finding the answer the goal? But if we zoom out, a deeper question emerges. What is the role of struggle in learning? And what do we lose when that struggle disappears? For generations, we've understood that effort matters, not in a vague motivational poster way, but in the cognitive science of how learning works. Struggling through confusion, making mistakes, and trying again are essential parts of building long-term understanding. When we outsource the hard part, the struggle, to AI, we risk turning learning into something transactional instead of transformational. This matters even more when we consider how students form their identities as learners. The student who sticks with a complex problem and figures it out experiences something far more powerful than just success. They build confidence, resilience, and a sense of competence. These are traits that won't show up on a rubric, but they will shape how that student approaches challenges for years to come. Now, let's bring this to the classroom level. Imagine a high school science teacher assigning an open-ended lab report. Some students go straight to an AI tool for help organizing their thoughts. Others try outlining it themselves. What if instead of punishing AI use, the teacher frames it differently? You can use the tool, but first show your process, your initial thinking, where you got stuck, what you tried. The AI response then becomes a point of comparison, not a replacement. This structure keeps the productive struggle intact, and students still benefit from reflection and feedback. Or consider an English teacher asking students to write a persuasive letter. Rather than banning AI outright, the teacher could assign the prompt in stages. First, students brainstorm and draft on paper. Then, they can compare their version to an AI-generated one. Which one feels more persuasive? Why? This back and forth helps students learn to critique, revise, and ultimately value their own voice, all because the struggle wasn't skipped. When used with intention, AI can actually deepen the learning process, but only if it doesn't replace the effort needed to grow. This means we as educators must design our instruction to preserve challenge, while still embracing useful tools.
One way to do this is by emphasizing process over product. Instead of grading only the final answer, we assess students on their thinking. What was their strategy? How did they respond when something didn't work? We also encourage productive failure. In project-based learning, for example, students often run into problems with their first approach. That's not something to be avoided, it's something to talk about. What did they learn from iteration 1? What would they try differently next time?
You know, it's important to remember that AI removes friction, but learning really requires it. A perfectly smooth experience might look efficient, but it often produces shallow understanding. Struggle, real supported struggle, creates deeper neural connections. It pushes students to internalize concepts, not just repeat them. We can also model this mindset ourselves. When teachers share their own moments of learning through trial and error, they normalize struggle. Students stop seeing difficulty as failure and start seeing it as part of the process. That's a cultural shift that AI can't do for us. So, what do we lose when AI makes things too easy? We lose the moments where students surprise themselves. We lose the opportunity for persistence to become part of identity. We lose the chance for learning to mean something beyond the grade. But if we preserve those moments, if we build them into our classroom design, even with AI in the mix, then we gain something far more valuable. Learners who know how to think, how to try, and how to grow. And that's a skill no AI can replicate.